Hello and welcome. Tonight is a very special night as we are joined by famed British storyteller and ghost hunter Dennis Browning Saunders. Do you believe in ghosts? Hang around and let's see.
Hello. Danita has asked me to recount one of my stories for you this evening. Shortly after leaving the Royal Air Force, I joined a hotel in rural Norfolk in England known as Congham Hall. It was an old building, an old manor place that had been turned into a hotel many years ago. And one night, working as the bartender and the night porter, I was joined by two ghost hunters at the bar. They were enjoying their drinks, getting ready for their evening's festivities, hunting ghosts and ghouls and associated mythological creatures. They had all their technology, all their EMP boxes and everything piled up on the bar beside them. And as they were drinking, they turned to me and said, had I ever experienced anything spooky or unusual in the hotel? And so I told them the story that I had been told when I first started. That once the hotel, as a manor, had been inhabited by the landlord. He owned the village around and was not an unpopular man, but was never one close with his people. He had a small household. One of the maids, known as Mary, took his eye. Frowned upon as it was back then, he wanted to marry her, and she refused. Her social standing would not be broken, not for this. He flew into a rage and locked her in one of the rooms of his home, with bars on the window, and no food until she gave him what he wanted. So it passed. Days turned to weeks, and Mary, starving, soon became thin enough to crawl through the bars on her window and climb down the ivory festooned walls to the ground, where she slowly made her way into the village, begging help. Who knows what the first villager who saw her would have thought of this tiny creature trudging towards him through the mist. But the villagers raised themselves and ran to her aid, and she told them how she had been locked in the room for weeks, and how the Lord had mistreated her, and then she passed. Mary, as I said, was a popular girl, and the village grew outraged at this attack, and stormed the house. No matter what the Lord said, no matter what excuses he gave, they dragged him out and hanged him from the walls. The ghost hunters turned to me and said, "Oh, I suppose you'll tell us that the landlord's ghost wanders the halls, and that he's hanging from the walls even now, and that we'll see him tonight." "Something like that," I said. They paid for their drinks and retired to their rooms to get all the rest of their equipment ready to begin their ghost hunt. I cleaned the bar, closed up, secured the doors, and went about my duties. That night, as I walked down the corridors, securing windows, making sure everything was safe, I heard, as I often did, the scratching from behind one of the doors. I don't know if the landlord was still stuck in Congham Hall, but I do know that Mary was. Every night you could hear her scratching at her door, waiting to get out. That, friends, is the end of my story. Good night.
If you enjoy this type of content, you're probably on the wrong channel. Until next time, have an absolutely fabulous day. Bye-bye.